Christmas song.
Let's celebrate, let's give our love. Now it is Christmas around the world. Together with friends, we're sharing this moment. Now it is Christmas time. Snowflakes from the sky. Bells are ringing high. Now it's Christmas time.
It's Christmas time. Morning to midnight, there's a passion within. Close to the fire, a warm and frozen skin. Kissing, candy, decorations. Yeah.
Santa, I've been so totally kind. I've never had a dirty thing on my mind. Santa, darling, oh you're so fine. I wish that you were only mine.
Ding dong, it's a Christmas song.
Let's celebrate, let's give our love. Now it is Christmas around the world. Together with friends, we're sharing this moment. Now it is Christmas time. Snowflakes from the sky. Bells are ringing high. Now it's Christmas time.
Yeah. It's Christmas time. Santa is coming. Ding dong, it's a Christmas song.
Let's celebrate, let's give our love. Now it is Christmas around the world. Together with friends, we're sharing this moment. Now it is Christmas time. Snowflakes from the sky. Bells are ringing high. Now it's Christmas. Snowflakes from the sky. Bells are ringing high. Now it's Christmas. Now it's Christmas time.
Merry Christmas.
Christmas around the world.
All right, good morning, everybody. New year, new mental illness. You can see my mental illness being illustrated by me playing a Christmas song on January 6th. How is everybody doing? It's Larsen Live. Of course, it is January 6th, the second anniversary or whatever it is of the 9/11 of Hitler rapes, allegedly. I've stopped caring about that shit a long time ago. And looking on Twitter, nobody else seems to be caring about it either, so that's good at the very least. Tony Gilbert asked me how were my holidays. They were very good. I did not go to Miami. I was with the wife, but yeah, we had fun. And you got to hang out with a lot of bikini girls for Christmas. That is excellent, sir. Ponythroat asks, is this a Christmas version of the Ding Dong song by Gunther? Yes, it is. It is Gunther's Christmas song. Music by everybody's favorite German sex pest. Just kidding, of course. Gunther is not really a sex pest. He just plays one on television. But, holidays are over. I had a lot of wonderful, wonderful gifts for the holidays. My wife is working today, so she's not here in the studio, but she might stop by in the chat later on. But anyway, let's get to the daily hellscape we all live in, news-wise. Okay, what's going on in the news? Well, the recruiting crisis for the military is still in crisis. Nikki Haley says, pause for laughter, says that we're down 25% in recruitment for the military. Why is that happening? We're focused on all the wrong things. Stop making them take gender pronoun classes. We have to be mission focused. Not entirely sure what mission Nikki Haley thinks the American military should be serving. I mean, it's certainly not serving the United States as a nation. I have a sneaking suspicion that she is like many other people in the world who see the U.S. as a resource to be exploited. Concerning what I've been seeing on the internets, India really seems to like Israel for some reason. Possibly because anti-Muslim hatred is quite common in India. Maybe that's what Nikki Haley wants, just for us to serve the interests of foreign powers for all eternity. I mean, many European nations have literally gone on record saying, we don't have to have a defense budget, we have America to do it. And dare I say, I am all in favor of recruitment going down. As the hippies used to say, what if there was a war and nobody came? I am 100% by that. I'm 100% in favor of that. I will not be getting drafted. I mean, I still have 3 years where I'm eligible to get drafted. One second, my beautiful wife is texting me. I had an excellent holiday, I'd like to point out. If I sound a bit down, it's because I am coming off a bit of sickness, and that's all right. I was, of course, congratulating Tony Gilbert for his holiday and saying that my holiday was equally wonderful. But yes, I am not in favor of America's youth being sent to their death for literally no goddamn reason. Yeah, boy, I hate Nikki Haley so much. Is she, in fact, Dick Cheney in mediocre pumps? Yes. Alpha Marigi says, Happy Epiphany. And also the missionary mission. Yes, a lot of people are under the impression that the United States military should be like social workers with rifles. I have never been in that camp. And if I get drafted, I will tell you outright, take me to jail. Because I'm not going. Pony Throat said, January 6th is the anniversary of when a screaming far-right mob charged the good and holy seat of government. They even started using Pelosi's podium as a battering ram while screaming, Grand, Grand, Grand. Well said, sir. The anniversary of when a bunch of old boomers just kind of walked around like assholes and made asses of themselves. And a couple of fatties died of heart attacks, too. Alpha Marigues. Somebody just subscribed. A Robert Diaz. And right as he did that, the Chud Meridian new meme in the meme reel came up. I don't know about you guys, but I literally laughed out loud when I first saw the Chud Meridian thing. Oh, esoteric literature humor. Will anybody else find that funny? No, just me. Okay. But yeah, screw Nikki Haley. Not in the sexual way, but in the emotional way. Yeah, what else is going on? The powers that be keep teasing that they're going to release the Jeffrey Epstein client list. There's been some revelations allegedly, but not the big bombshells that we're hoping for. Senator says Jeffrey Epstein flight log should not be released because colleagues would be compromised. Yes, I dare say that is the point, Tim Burchett. I have to say, if your colleagues are jetting off to Caribbean islands to get sex from minors, maybe they should be compromised, dare I say. Yeah, also allegedly, Stephen Hawking went there, but not to have sex, to watch midgets doing equations. Hey, whatever gets you off. If they're legal adults, I mean, I don't see what's wrong with that necessarily. I mean, that's a hell of a thing to hear on January 4th of the new year, but here we are. Can we please just take this country out back and put a bullet in its head? Okay. Robert Diaz says, I loved your Frank Dukes videos. I'm glad, sir. I wish I had more subscribers. Robert Diaz also says the list has already been censored. Let's not kid ourselves. I know, why can't one of these, weaponized autists, do some hacking and get that list? I mean, if I had, remote technical skills, I would do such a thing, but I don't. When he throws, I get Blood Meridian references. Well, I'm glad. But do you get Chud Meridian references? I mean, frankly, going out into the street makes me feel a little like I'm in a little bit of a Chud Meridian myself. Or going shopping, but that's neither here nor there. Okay. Point says, now we know why nobody came to Stephen Hawking's party. Totally understandable on the part of the time travelers. Yes, I also remember when Stephen Hawking was like a delightful scamp who would appear in Simpsons episodes. Yeah, I had this terrible dream that, we were being ruled by Satan-worshipping pedophiles. Oh, wait. Turns out that we are, in fact, ruled by the same. Will anything spur the apathetic masses to, at the very least, non-violent resistance against the powers that be? The world may never know. Dare I say, if I wasn't married to my beautiful wife, who I love very much, if I didn't have a wonderful family, I might stand in the middle of the road or cheat on my taxes or something, or do some kind of non-violent protest. But alas, the thing that always stops any protest is men with duties and obligations. This is why, layabout listless men who are nonetheless intelligent are one of the biggest threats any society can face. All right, let's check out some comments. Shinseki Evan says Stephen Hawking was a creep. Look up his personal life. He had many affairs even in his condition. Yes, I did hear about that. I do know he cheated on his wife, which, in a way, I gotta say it's kind of impressive that a guy with ALS could do such a thing. But, I mean, if watching midgets in bikinis doing equations is the worst thing that went on Epstein Island, we should all be thankful. Of course it wasn't. But if all he did was watch legal adults, kind of clowning about doing equations, I would give him a pass just barely. It's creepy and odd, but we don't know if it was underage. But I gotta say to the politicians and celebrities, if I associated with one pedophile in my life or one murder in my life, I would probably be a bit concerned. I would have some questions about, what am I doing in my life that attracts these terrible people to me? And then when you hang out with a bunch of pedophiles and Satan worshippers, you really got to take a step back and realize that your life is probably gone terribly wrong. Okay. Ponythroat said the part about the midgets was a meme that went viral. That was not in the documents. Yeah, I had my suspicions. I feel like I should mention it. I did say allegedly that was what was going on. Yeah. I mean, I don't care how much of a quantum physicist you are. Nobody's attracted to people doing equations. Even if my wife were doing equations, I would be like, the equations are a slight turnoff. And I feel like she would say the same to me. Narahari Kamath says, I think the island was a pedo party, a framework to blackmail. Yes, I have heard such a thing. It wouldn't be the first time that weird honeypots were used to blackmail powerful men into doing what they want. Then again, I would also have to ask, there is something severely wrong with you if you are attracted to prepubescent children. Like, I can understand, not saying I approve, but I do understand being attracted to like a, 15, 16, 17-year-old. But like, prepubescent? Good God, sir. What is wrong with you? Robert Diaz says, I'm willing to bet 20% of the list or innocent, personal assistants roped in for the sake of blackmail. The other 80 is likely guilty as charged. Yeah, probably. I mean, some of the people there were just kind of roped into it or set up to, like, take the fall, so to speak. Timothy Adams says, how to hang out with a bunch of rapists, murderers, and pedos got elected to public office. Yeah. I've occasionally toyed with, like, running for, like, small, like, municipal government positions. But I don't know how deep the rot goes. And frankly, nor do I know if the good people of my municipality would vote for a, surly. Well, first of all, I don't even know if I'm old enough legally to run for office. I mean, I'm 32. I think you got to be 35. And secondly, I don't know if the people will vote for a surly, violent pompadour man. Alpha Marigi says equations are a slight turnoff. He can't relate. I mean, I've never found a woman more attractive for being able to do math. Maybe like if you could like spackle like drywall or fix a bike, that might turn me on. But equations, not so much. C Punk Messiah says Harlan Ellison was right about the state of the world. I'm not sure which quote you're referring to specifically, but I mean, when it comes to Harlan Ellison, I often find myself, just saying to myself, hate. Let me tell you how much I've come to hate you since I began to live. Timothy Adams says R.I.P. Harlan Ellison. He also clarifies that the local office is 18 and up. Interesting. Then again, I don't have the money for campaign materials. Ponythroat says Larsen is not attracted to math. Is he going to hand in his Asian card? Well, I mean, engineering is a bit of a turn on, so maybe not. Timothy Adams says, I knew a theoretical math major from Harvard. She was really sexy. Well, I'm sure she was. Did the math make her sexier? Timothy Adams also clarifies that Harlan Ellison said, don't fuck the mouse. Well, he suggested doing such, and he got shit canned from Disney immediately. Robert Diaz talks about his friend who was a local alderman at the age of 25. Dare I say, I might have to do some Jeffersonian shit. State and local government is closest to the people. I just might. I mean, I would really prefer if, the government was cleaned up non-violently. Speaking of Jefferson, while, it is easy to say that the tree of liberty must be refreshed with the blood of patriots and tyrants, I genuinely do prefer to not commit violence whenever I can help it. But, yeah, if we want to fix the country, we're going to have to start local, win little elections, run for dog catcher. I would say if nobody actually runs for dog catcher. It's a skill position. It's a useful thing that you have to do so, nobody gets elected to it. Yeah, you're gonna have to run for like little, municipal elections and slowly work your way up. I mean, it's gonna take a long time, but I think that's the only way you can fix things without, violent insurrection. And I'd prefer to not have that, to be honest. Hey, C-Punk Messiah says Jello Biafra once ran for mayor of San Francisco. I think he may have a shot. Yeah, speaking of, I actually just downloaded Chinua Achebe's book about the Biafran secession movement. Timothy Adams says the cost of cleaning house by force is why it hasn't happened yet. Well, like I said last week, things are, not great, but it's still relatively comfortable. People still have food, there's the power's still on. No one's gonna people still have jobs. Nobody's gonna get violent until shit gets really bad. That hasn't happened yet. We got bred in circuses in this country, or bred in like football, I guess you could call it. Nvidia. I think Matt Forney called it like corn syrup and football. So yeah, that's our bread in circuses. So until that goes away, we're not going to see any violence. And that's just the way it is. I mean, personally, I've always very much admired the French for their propensity to just riot at the drop of a hat. I mean, I think things would be better in this country if we did that. But speaking of things that we should be rioting about, yet again, there was a criminal who murdered somebody, and he was exonerated because he was low IQ. I'm really getting tired of low IQ people being exonerated because they just can't, they know not what they do. I mean, they're smart enough to kill people. As I discussed a while back, it's been known to happen that you kill somebody, you get paroled in 4 years, you get out, and you kill another person. Dare I say, if you're not intelligent enough to know that murder is bad, you probably shouldn't live in polite society. Oh, but IQ tests, they don't prove anything. Boy, I hate people sometimes. Timothy Adams says, pizza and Pornhub. Well said, sir. Robert Diaz says, the power base flows from the state level. I will always vote in local elections. The vote matters more locally. Yes, especially the issues I care about. I care about law and order. I care about the streets not being full of like screaming derelicts throwing their AIDS-infested feces into people's faces. And that's the most important thing to me. Ponythroat says, low IQ people stole my bike. Yeah, dare I say, petty thieves tend to not be the smartest people in the world. Timothy Adams also says, if he's that handicapped, he should be under guardianship supervision. I mean, he could also be in my idea, which is the big airplane hangar where brappies just hang around all day and punch each other in the face. But nobody listens to me. And yeah, if I ever do run for local office, I promise I will not use the term brappy. It's not until I'm in office. Then, the shit goes down. Shinseki Evans says, why is the law easy on tards and crazies? When did that start? I think it started with, like, the 60s. When there was a lot of, like, all that, like, shit label, law and order stuff kind of happened. And then it was like, oh, well, IQ doesn't mean anything. Oh, we gotta, protect the innocent babies. And then, also happened with the, like, Reagan shit, the community care, the institutionalization. So now the streets are just full of screaming derelicts. Nara Hari Kamath says they're identified as low IQ They should not be freed in society for their own good. They will not be able to cope. I mean, obviously, not every. Look, just if you're mentally challenged, that doesn't make you a brappy. Yes, I feel like, mentally challenged people who are capable of functioning, they could give them, like, low paying, wagey jobs. But yeah, brappies need to be just, yeah, fuck brappies. I will, total brappy death now. Timothy Adams says the U.S. Army has been doing IQ for over a century. Their findings are amazingly accurate in regards to jobs and work. Yes, amazing how the Army and professional sports teams, institutions that have millions of dollars involved, all seem to believe in the validity of IQ testing. But some noodle-armed soy jack doesn't, apparently. Robert Diaz says McNamara's morons are the case study for why IQ tests are needed. Below 75 IQ soldiers, they get people and themselves killed. Ah, yes, McNamara's morons. They're apparently doing that again nowadays. And, yeah, it's not going well. Funny Throat says it all started to go to shit in the 60s for completely unknown reasons. Yes, one wonders what happened. No, Dad, I can't talk now. Sorry, that was my father calling me about something or other. But yeah, speaking of law and order, and we will eventually get to other countries, but yeah, apparently something went viral on the Twitters. A shitbag cop had some things to say about how much he hates the civilians. And by the way, I hate when cops refer to non-police as civilians. You're not a soldier. You are a cop, sir. And I quote, "What we cops, who you all hate so much, know is that the public is fucking cowardly. You sit behind your motherfucking phones and you film things when shit goes down. The public doesn't intervene. They watch through a phone and camera. They wait for police, fire, and EMS show up. Then they criticize when everything's said and done. The internet LARPers who are absolutists to your Second Amendment rights are fucking fake. Do you see these people in real life hunting down dope dealers, kidnappers, killers? Do you see these fucking pretenders doing anything to fight crime? They sit and bitch on Twitter. You know who you do see dealing with society's unwanted pieces of shit? The emergency services people that you rely on because you're too scared to take any responsibility. The next time you cry and moan and complain about your precious necks being stomped on by imaginary boots, what have you done to justify lessening governmental oversight in your community? So go back to painting your Warhammer minis. Argue amongst yourselves and misunderstand the entire point of my post. LOL. So says DPR the Doomer Trooper. This police officer is literally calling the average people cowards, and they're saying, why don't you take the law into your own hands? You people are weak. You need us. I fucking hate people like this. Yeah, gee, I wonder why people don't intervene. Maybe it's because, maybe there's a reason why we need like Good Samaritan laws. Maybe it's because there have been multiple cases where people have been killed by police while they were trying to help. They're trying to intervene. Maybe it's because you people defend like brappies and subway pushers instead of, normal people. Maybe it's when you were like throwing kids off the playground during COVID because they dared to go outside and play. Maybe it's because you abuse your authority and you always back each other up and you set yourself against the common people. Maybe that's why you've made the public into cowards. I'm giving air quotes. You will always, take the side of, the brappies over, the regular people. Oh, why don't the people get involved? Like, why aren't there vigilantes? Dude, fuck, I hate people like that. Okay. Yeah, Ponythroat says exactly what I was thinking. I don't see the cops doing those things either. Yeah, nice job with Uvalde, Officer Tackleberry. Yeah, well said. I mean, I hate to keep bringing that up, but yeah, we all saw the Uvalde cops, like, 400 little fucking gobelinos, like, cowering in the corner as children died. But, we're the cowards. You know, one of the guys I do jujitsu with, he's a cop, and he's an all right guy, but, you know, I'm not going to get into it with him, but yeah, like I did choke him out last week, and yes, I can say I choked out a cop, and it makes me feel pretty good, to be honest. Kidding, of course. Alpha Marigi says vigilantism is illegal. If Chief Rojas was demanding he catch Batman, he'd be whining about that too. Well, it just seems a bit hypocritical to me that these cops are like, you've done everything in your power to make sure that people will never intervene, they'll never get involved, and then you have the audacity to ask, like, why are the people such cowards? Fuck you, you made us cowards. Ponythroat says, Hope Larsen got the Officer Tackleberry reference. Well, of course I got a reference to Police Academy, sir. I mean, I was going to say, fucking Officer Winslow, beep beep, woo! Yeah, that guy, like, he'd do better than the Uvalde cops. Oh, you know what? Dare I say, like, the boys at the Blue Oyster Bar, they could do better than the Uvalde cops. Ponythroat also says cops have a significantly lower rate of stopping school shooters than school shooters. Like, literally, studies have shown that, like, rando, like, fatties with, gun licenses stop mass shooters quicker than the cops. Robert Diaz says the cop is not wrong, but his attitude sucks. Society right now would rather defend a drug addict issuing threats to people on a subway card. Yeah, that, and like I saw a video of like the cops just beating the shit out of a guy who jumped the turnstile at the subway station in New York. Yeah, guys, you're really doing a bang up job defending society. Beating the shit out of a guy for not paying $2.50 for the subway. I really don't want to like shit on cops. Like, before I met my wife, the girl I was dating, she was like a all cops are bastards kind of girl, and I had to listen to her rambling shit about that. So I'm not I'm not about that. Like, obviously, cops, they serve a function in society, but my God, a lot of them are just power tripping dweebs, and it's hard to defend them sometimes. Like, I'm not a bootlicker. I'm not gonna like back the blue. I'm also not gonna be a a cab person. Dare I say, both the cops and the mostly peaceful rioters need to be smacked around a little bit. But how do I fix it? How do we fix it? I mean, I've had some ideas of how to fix the justice system, but this is a much bigger issue. Oh yeah, by the way, reading this thread reminded me of when they were at Uvalde. They literally had the shooter in their sights, and they're like, I don't want to take the shot. As if somebody could have good intentions carrying a rifle into an elementary school. Is it safe to engage? Fuck, I hate these people so much. Okay. Shinseki Evan says, hit that thumbs up button, folks. Yes, you all should. You should all give me money also. Alpha Marigi says, if cops want people to do their jobs for them, they should bring back the bounty system. I mean, personally, with the all cops are bastards thing, I was kind of hoping it would bring back like Wild West posses, just because I want to wear a leather duster more in my daily life. But instead, it became with these like weirdo social workers who don't do shit. And yes, I have seen workers of this I'm sorry, I have seen videos of the unarmed social workers like standing by as people get the shit beaten out of them on the street. Ponythroat says, I bet that guy is sitting in his car giving people dubious traffic tickets while thinking, I'm the thin blue line between barbarism and civilization. Yeah, nice job, Stryker. I'm not really going to tolerate you demeaning good cops like, Eugene Tackleberry and Curtis Stryker. There are bad, like, cops, fictional cops you could be using, like Chief Wiggum or something. Harry, the human substitute Aaron Carr, says, why didn't the public help us? Why are there laws designed to stop us helping you? We don't know. Do you want to remove those laws? No. Fine then. Repeat forever. I mean, if you allow me to, kick the shit out of people, I'd be willing to, remove, cop immunity and things like that. Or dare I say, you could actually, uphold your oath and protect and serve, but I guess that's not going to happen. There are good cops. I'm not saying that there aren't any good cops, but a lot of them are just like these power tripping weenies. And is there a way we could get those cops out of it? I don't know. I think a big part of it is getting rid of the quota system for tickets, because that stimulates shithead cops to power trip. Alpha Marigi says, they call me Chief Pig'em. It doesn't make any sense. Wait, I just got it. Yes. I am proceeding on foot. Calling a, code 82. We're going to need some pretzels. I repeat, we need pretzels. Yeah, Simpsons quotes. Always good. I'm trying to think, who was the, shitbaggiest of shitbag fictional cops? I mean, Chief Wiggum's not really bad. He's just incompetent. I don't know. I'll think of it later. But speaking of, Law and Order being crap. Actually, yeah, let's something that actually is good. So we're gonna leave America for a while, and we're gonna go to Afghanistan. The Taliban has a pretty interesting approach to dealing with opium addicts. They're basically locking them up in big pens and forcing them to go through cold turkey detox and withdrawal. Then the Taliban will retrain them to do things that are useful, like becoming tailors or electricians. Dare I say, the Taliban's drug policy is a lot more sensible than San Francisco's or Portland's. Now, I don't know how. I'm presuming that the detox centers are run terribly with sort of illicit, butt sex going on, as is their wont. But assuming that there's no abuse going on, I actually kind of like that idea. Yeah, it's get these people off the drugs and then train them to do something useful so they won't go back to, recidivism, so they won't go back to robbery and, being brappies, and make them do something useful. Now, granted, I'm not sure if the brappies are going to be capable of doing anything useful, but it's worth trying at least. Okay. Ponythroat says Officer Tenpenny from Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. Shinseki Evans says Roscoe P. Coltrane. Yeah, that's probably true. One of those guys is probably good. Harry, I'm just going to say Harry. have you seen UK self-defense laws? If you win a fist fight, you're the attacker. How different are US laws? Yeah, they are genuinely better for the most part. Like I know some states they still have like mutual combat, which is like a relic of the Wild West, which I actually kind of like. It's that if two men uh they decide that they're gonna like have mutual combat, you can have like a fist fight and you'll be free of prosecution. But it has to be done with witnesses. You both have to kind of agree and shake hands on it. Yeah, if you remember that douchebag, fakes that or not fake, but like the real life superhero Phoenix Jones. He actually was famous. He actually got viral on the interwebs for beating up some drunk guy in a mutual combat. Almost as if Phoenix Jones was just a power tripping asshole himself who wanted to beat people up legally. But that's a whole different issue. I was also thinking about doing a video on uh, Phoenix Jones, but there's already like 3 really good hour-long episodes on him. And, I was like, is there anything I can really say that these guys haven't already said? Probably not, so I decided against it. Harry says martial art and self-defense law should be written by fighters. Yes, they should. C-Punk Messiah says the train spotting approach. And Ponythroat says the Taliban defeated the U.S. militarily. Now they're defeating them in effective social policy. Yes, they are. Ponythroat also says the Taliban stopping the opium flow is going to make the CIA mad. Have to switch to using more fentanyl. The synthetic opioids. Yes. Okay. Let's see what we got going on elsewhere in the world. We have, give me 1 second to open up my bullet points. It's basically just a list of links. Going back to America now, a growing number of people have noticed that leftists are becoming increasingly anti-Semitic over the Israeli-Palestine war going on right now. And by that I mean they're basically just speedrunning all the 4chan, Jewish conspiracy theories. The Khazarian hypothesis, the Zionist-occupied government thing, Jews being Satan worshippers. Yeah, it's all things you could see on 4chan's politics board decades ago, and in the fevered dreams of neo-Nazi assholes, and now the left's getting onto it. Yes, if I, dare I say, I find it all a bit funny. The horseshoe theory is real. Got some comments here. Robert Diaz says he talks about castle laws versus stand your ground. Yeah, it varies state by state. Shinseki Evans says Phoenix Jones became a criminal himself. Yes, he did. He got caught selling drugs. Yeah, so apparently being a real life superhero doesn't pay the bills. And he was trying to supplement his income by selling drugs. There's also a conspiracy theory that Phoenix Jones is always a drug dealer. And he was basically like using his superhero shtick to kind of intimidate the other drug dealers out of the area so he could monopolize the drug trade in his neighborhood. Yeah, Phoenix Jones also had a little like secret lair in the back of a comic book shop. Yeah, that whole saga's a goddamn farce. Okay. Narahari Kamath says the leftists still support Democrats, right? By the way, Biden was very quick to send weapons to Israel. Robert Leonard says Deborah Lipstadt warned us that the beast of anti-Semitism would reawaken. She didn't see it would be under the intersectional rainbow banner, or as I like to call it, the LGBT fuck spiral, rather than the swastika. Okay, Shinseki Evans says the left has been anti-Semitic for a while now. Well, I mean, that's not entirely unusual considering that the Soviet Union was also pretty anti-Semitic, especially Stalin. Harry says, no, the people who love Islam agree with Islam about Jews. In other news, water is wet. Well, it's not so much the fact that they are anti-Semitic, it's just that they're saying the exact same anti-Semitic conspiracy theories that, like, neo-Nazi lunatics also say. It's just, it's horseshoe conversions. Pony Throat, referring to Phoenix Jones, says he lived long enough and he became the villain. Yes. In fact, Phoenix Jones did very much resemble a comic book superhero. It just happened to be Night Fist from Garth Ennis's Hitman comic books. Also, yeah, there's an obscure reference for you. Liam Roddy says, good day, Larsen. Good day to you too, Liam. Okay, let's see what else is going on here. Okay, I think this is an old blighty. The Telegraph says, there's an article. Pizzas must shrink or lose their toppings under a government anti-obesity plan. Some dweebus named Ben Q. Let me look up this chughead. Ben Q is a journalist who kind of jostles between the UK and the USA. He says, I support this measure. Domino's large pizza is over 2,500 calories. The food companies need to be reined in. Wow, if only there was a way you could, like, not eat an entire pizza in one sitting. If only you could, like, this is a crazy idea, mind you. If only you could, like, cut pizza into, like, 8 slices maybe and eat it in portions instead of eating the whole thing in one bite. Yeah, imagine. It's a radical idea, but maybe you could cut the pizza into 8 or even 16 different slices that are equal, and everybody could have small pieces and watch their weight. But no, we can't do that. We just got to force the pizza companies to make more caloric or less caloric pizza. I'm sorry, how this annoys me. Like, how fucking stupid are you? Like, the concept of cutting pizza into slices, like, boggles the mind of the Daily Telegraph. Like, oi, mate, what is this? Oi, mate, you got a license for your pizza cutter? Jesus, Britain, like, I used to respect you. All right, we got a lot of comments here. Liam Roddy says, we have a blizzard here. Yes, there is snow projected today up here in New Jersey as well. Liam Roddy says, Phoenix Jones was arrested for cocaine production. I heard it was like shrooms or something. I know it's some kind of drug. Harry says, Garth the Worth comic writer. I don't think he's the worst comic book writer. I mean, have you read Mark Waid or Chuck Dixon? C-Punk Messiah says, we would definitely be hearing Varg Vikernes' opinions on the Israel situation if he still had a channel. Isn't Varg too busy making his stupid little, like, racist Dungeons and Dragons clone? Rick says, Jean Van Ham called it. I don't know who that is. Robert Diaz says, don't eat all the pizza. Yeah, you would think that would be the case, but, I guess not. Rick says, authorized happiness had government enforcing dieting and workouts. I see that. It's a story. Harry says, the idea of cutting pizza into slices is a shocking idea. Pony Throat says, wow, who would have suspected a giant disc of meat and cheese might be the healthiest thing in the world? Yeah, who could have imagined? Timothy Adams says, a large pizza is supposed to be for 3 to 4 persons. Liam Roddy says, if only people had some kind of discipline. Now, I'm not going to lie. Like, I can eat, like, 4 slices of pizza, like, pretty easily. But, I shouldn't. I try not to. I'm just going to lay this out there. Pizza is, like, it's literally Italian peasant food. It's supposed to be a cheap, calorically dense meal that can feed a family. Not one person. Robert Leonard says, the Telegraph is only surpassed in stupidity by The Guardian. Indeed. Timothy Adams says there are dystopian stories where the state used health metrics to basically house arrest you. It's coming now. I mean, I don't mind like locking fatties in their houses. Kidding, of course. Seapunk Messiah says going back to Harlan Ellison, he was right about the waning intelligence in this country. He despised the general U.S. population, and so do I. Yes, I too hate the average normie. Rick says, but Britain had weapons drop-off bins with Cookie Monster. Seapunk Messiah also says he's been watching lots of interviews with Harlan Ellison. I've seen a few. Didn't Harlan Ellison also like mail like dead groundhogs to like his college professors because they said he wasn't a good writer? Harry says that Garth Ennis's work, The Boys, tried to be mature and different to childish comics to the point of being childish itself. Yeah, a lot of The Boys comic is just like edginess for the sake of being edgy. I'm not going to disagree with you on that. But I do think that Garth Ennis is, genuinely pretty solid as a writer. Ponythroat says that pizza is not Italian peasant food anymore. It is international peasant food now. Yes. I mean, all peasant food is just like dense, like slop of, meat and, carbohydrates and sometimes cheese. You're not supposed to eat a whole pizza by yourself. You wouldn't eat a whole pot of like rice and beans either to, go into American peasant food. Rick says Max Headroom had ads that made fat people go boom. Interesting. I've never actually seen an episode of Max Headroom. It's just one of those kind of 80s relics that I know exists, but I've never actually seen it myself. All right, moving on from Blighty. Let's get Antipodian here. Let's go to the land down under, in which this went viral. healthdirect.gov.au advertises the people on how to have good anal hygiene. Keep your anus clean by washing with water every day. Do not use soap, as they will reduce the natural oils that protect the anus and make it itchy. Use aqueous cream or a soap-free cleanser. Much of the modern government really involves sticking things in your butthole, and I don't really approve. I'm going to keep washing my ass with soap, thank you very much. You're not going to stop me. Australia will not stop me from cleaning my corn chute. Also, is washing your ass like something that people in Australia don't understand? I've only known a few Australians in my life. They generally were nice people, and they didn't seem particularly smelly. But maybe it is a problem in the land down under. I don't know. Looking at the comments here, Robert Leonard says, I met Harlan Ellison in 1991. I respect him even though we agreed on almost nothing. That's nice. Okay. Ponythroat says Max Headroom was the first VTuber, and it predicted the modern stupids. Max Headroom Let's Plays or game streams will be wild. Yeah, just like that Max Headroom station hack that was also pretty crazy. Harry says, at my peak fitness, strength, and stamina, the One Punch Man workout was my warm-up. After that, I needed the pizza calories. Yeah, I mean, obviously, if you're like that high-level athlete, you should be eating a lot, but most people aren't. Shinseki Evans says those instructions are for migrants. Oh, 1 second, my wife is texting me. I don't. Like, where are these people migrating from that they don't know how to wash their asses? Like, you would think that, like, washing your body is something that everybody could understand. But apparently not. Okay, so now that we've gotten through the serious stuff, pause for laughter as I just talked about Australia giving anal washing advice. Let's get to the popular culture. So, first of all, wait, actually, no. I take that back. From the New York Post, going back to my country, an article. I'm living in my car to beat the housing crisis. Here's how I blend in. You know, dare I say, if you're living in your car, you are not beating the housing crisis. The housing crisis is beating you. That's all I have to say about that. I beat the housing crisis by being homeless. No, you've lost, sir. You lost before you even knew you were in a competition. Anyway, now we'll get to the pop culture news. It has been announced that there will be a Die Hard prequel. Why is this happening? You know what? Die Hard is the Die Hard prequel. This is not a goddamn superhero story. Like, he doesn't need a origin story. Like, what did John McClane fall into a vat of like used wife beater shirts? Like, the whole point of the movie is that he's just like an average, schlub beat cop thrust into a, desperate, unlikely situation. There is no. He doesn't need a prequel. What is it going to be like? Him and his wife going through divorce court? Like, this is a bad idea, and you should feel bad. Bruce Willis is currently suffering like severe dementia, so I don't know if they just like kind of waved a piece of paper in his face to like get him to sign it. Like, no, this is stupid. I do not approve of this. Okay. Harry says, do you want the honest racist answer or the political correct answer? Oh, I always want the honest and racist answer, sir. Always. Harry also says, kill me now. Referring to the Die Hard thing, I assume. Timothy Adams says they're making a prequel because Bruce doesn't remember making it. Robert Diaz says Bruce Willis cannot speak anymore. It's really sad. Yeah, it is. I mean, he was doing a bunch of shitty movies for the past few years. It was literally like he knew that his mind was going to mush. He just wanted to make as much money as he could to support his family, which I guess is a nice thing. Harry says, based on the movie story in modern politics, the prequel will be how his marriage fell apart and a story about emasculating him. Yeah, that's what I thought. It would just be about his wife, like, humiliating him in divorce court. And then he's like, oh, by the way, I'm going to go to Los Angeles. Ponythroat says he is a superhero. In number 3, he moved to New York to stop a time bomb, and he got an iconic costume in that one. Yes, we all know what costume you're referring to, sir. No, not everything needs prequels. Like what are we gonna do next? Are we gonna make like a prequel to RoboCop that's called Human Cop? I mean, why don't we put Human Cop on the Hollywood assembly line? Yep, remakes and prequels and video games and toys. That's the future of cinema. Oh boy, everything's going to shit. All right, so also speaking of popular culture, remember how we made jokes about Steamboat Willie going public domain and immediately becoming a bunch of shitty horror movies? Well, that's literally happening. It's like Infestation 88 or some such. It's going to be like a shitty Five Nights at Freddy clone, but with Steamboat Willie Mickey Mouse. Wow, what originality, the stunning originality there. Incidentally, now that it's public domain, I actually did watch Steamboat Willie for the first time in about 20 years, and I gotta say, I don't remember Mickey Mouse being that much of a douchebag. But yeah, he basically is the villain of the original Steamboat Willie. He's just dicking around, and Pete wants him to do his damn job. So if you make if you made like a workplace sitcom about Steamboat Willie, like that would be better than just a Steamboat Killy. Like, look at this dude, I'm so edgy. Although something that I did see that I really liked was Danny 8-bit came up with Cat and Mouse, a film noir buddy cop detective adventure starring Steamboat Willie Mickey Mouse and Otto Mesmer Felix the Cat. Dare I say, I would watch the hell out of Cat and Mouse. I will donate money to that man's Patreon, but only if it's the Otto Mesmer Felix. If you have one goddamn second of that Joe Oriolo magic bag shit, I will not approve. Yeah, fuck Joe Oriolo. There's only one true Felix the Cat, and it's the Otto Mesmer Felix the Cat. Yeah, fun fact, in the 90s, when they were doing that Twisted Tales of Felix show, which is like the last time Felix ever meant anything. Yeah, like the creators of the show, they wanted to do like the 1920s style Felix, the good one. But Don Oriolo was like, no, you gotta do like the 50s shit. And they were like, they begrudgingly did. But then by the second season, they were literally in open rebellion with Joe Oriolo, or open rebellion against him. And they were just like shitting on like the 50s Felix openly in the episodes. Pretty funny. Yes, I take my cartoons very seriously. But yeah, like this is what I want from like public domain stuff. Like some goddamn creativity, not just like, ooh, like what if children's characters were like evil? Because that has been done a million times. Okay. Robert Diaz says, looking at the comments, the Die Hard prequel will be debuted on the Lifetime channel. But no, it's actually, I was about to say, like, aren't Lifetime movies about like abusive husbands? I mean, John McClane is not a abusive husband; he's just a dick. And I still refuse to believe that Bruce Willis does not wake up in a filthy apartment every morning with a hangover. Like, even though he is rich, he sets up his bedroom to look like a shitty studio apartment. Ponythroat says the prequel to RoboCop is Organic Cop. I personally like Human Cop better. Or how about just Cop? Yeah, that's the prequel to RoboCop. Just Cop. Timothy Adams says, Die Hard prequel. Fat chick of color, make her super gay. Yeah, probably. Ponythroat says, give it a week before Steamboat Willie is on the ADL list of far-right symbols. Yes. Robert Leonard says, Bugs Bunny was originally an asshole. I mean, he kind of... Yeah, I mean, he was for like a good amount of time. I mean, Bugs Bunny is even like literally the villain in 3 cartoons, like the ones with Cecil Turtle. Yeah, like Woody Woodpecker was also like originally a villain. Uh, yeah, quite a few of the old cartoons are originally villains. Yeah, like Charlie Brown was like a douche in like the early Peanuts. Then his self-esteem was crushed by all the other kids. Ponythroat says Mario was originally a bastard. Well, I mean, in the original game, Donkey Kong Mario was like a good guy. Then he went bad. He became the villain in Donkey Kong Jr. Dare I say Nintendo was doing some sort of like Nietzschean he who fights demons thing. Alpha Marigi says he had a VHS with the 1936 Felix the Cat cartoon as a kid. Oh, the Van Buren one, like Neptune nonsense. That one's okay. But in my opinion, like the 1920s, Otto Mesmer Felix the Cat is the best Felix the Cat, like bar none. Harry, referring to the fitness tip meme I have, I don't know why women dress like that at the gyms. I've gone to the gym in my gi. It's comfortable and works. What more is needed? Well, a lot of women go just to like have men ogle them. Eddie Jones says John McClane saved his wife's life twice and she still left him. Yes. Hey, speaking of the cat and mouse movie, wasn't there also like a first-person shooter that was supposed to come out on Steam? It was like done in like a 1930s cartoon style, where you're using like like Tommy guns and like cartoon shit. I'm trying to look that up. Okay, Ponythroat asks, is Felix the cat related to Fritz the cat? No, he is not. I mean, Robert Crumb may have watched some Felix the Cat cartoons, but that's neither here nor there. Robert Crumb was also open in saying that he like beat off to Bugs Bunny dressing up as a lady. That's a whole different issue. Yeah, like I really like. I'm a huge fan of the old Fleischer cartoons and the old 1930s cartoons. Like I love the hell out of Cuphead, and I hope that the style kind of comes back. I mean, that is a uniquely American cartooning style, and we ought to do it more. Ponythroat says John McClane is proof that no matter how many terrorist plots you stop single-handedly, your wife will leave you when you go bald. Yeah, yeah. Alpha Marigi says people doing edgy shit with Mickey Mouse is partially just people trying to get back at Disney for this, that, or the other thing. It's not creative. I see no reason to say public domain bad. Well, I mean, again, I don't mind getting back at Disney. I mean, I certainly think the Disney Corporation got kicked in the dick a little bit, but there's just so much more creative ways to do it than just shitty horror movie. Hey, if you really want to get back at Disney, you could do like a kind of Steamboat Union cartoon making fun of their business practices. Like that would hit them harder. Robert Leonard says, speaking of Robert Crumb, is Harvey Pekar still alive? I have no idea. Ponythroat says Robert Crumb looks exactly like you think he does. Like a noodle arm sex pest? Yes, yes, he does. Yeah, I'd also like to thank Bruce Willis for moonlighting, which literally created the slap kiss like romantic dynamic that has literally been going on for 40 goddamn years since. So you can thank him for that too. Yeah, we should get more of that in the Wes Ball Legend of Zelda movie. Yeah, we got to bring that back. But yeah, moving on from Steamboat Killy, let's see what else is going on. Well, what happened this past week was two very good writers had birthdays, J.R.R. Tolkien and Isaac Asimov. Isaac Asimov is very popular with the tech gurus of today, him and Arthur C. Clarke. It's really something how, like, far leftists, their favorite speculative writers are all, like, sexual deviants. I mean, Asimov, at least, he just kind of, like, sexually harassed women. He, like, smacked them on the butt and stuff. He, like, grabbed their, boobs, honk, honk. But at least he wasn't, like, at least his prey were, adults. Yeah, Arthur C. Clarke moving to Sri Lanka for the boys. Leftists still will occasionally defend Marion Zimmer Bradley, who was also a sexual predator. I do like some of Asimov's stuff and Arthur C. Clarke's stuff as well. But dare I say, if more of the tech gurus read, Edgar Rice Burroughs or, Doc Smith, I think there would be a better place. Yeah, I don't want like weird autistic, transhumanism. I want Barsoom. I want to be like leaping through the sky, like fighting green Martians with a sword. That's what I want out of life. But alas, it is not to be. Okay. Ponythroat says, the song by The Lonely Island is a bunch of people cosplaying as Robert Crumb. Jizzed in my pants? Yeah. C-Punk says, I've always despised Flash Gets and Later Robot Chicken for that her, what if beloved children cartoon says fucking take drugs. Yeah, I hate that too. Like that's just like the lowest like common denominator, no creativity whatsoever. Alpha Rodriguez says the Zelda cartoon was good. Yeah, I've said it before and I'll say it again. It is to the Zelda franchise what the Adam West Batman is to the Batman franchise. It's goofy horseshit, but it's fun. It has its place. Ponythroat says I was referring to the creep. I've literally, I'm not super familiar with the Lonely Island's oeuvre. I know I'm on a boat and jizzed in my pants. That's about it. C-Punk says, I've had some of my art compared to R. Crumb. He is not a bad cartoonist. I don't agree with some of his, personal life and views, but yeah, he's a good cartoonist. Yeah, Robert Crumb is actually similar to Alan Moore in that they're both like, there's been no good culture created after the 1940s. Me. I don't agree with that. Robert Leonard says Asimov's son, David, was found with lots of CP. Yes, he was. I mean, at least Asimov only, screwed around with adult women. Alpha Rodriguez says Gene Roddenberry had a colonization kink, right? I don't know about that. I know he cheated on his wife. Robert Leonard says, I'm friends with MZB's daughter. Yeah, Marion Zimmer Bradley and her husband Walter Breen were terrible, terrible people. I know everyone's like, oh, it's the Mists of Avalon. They like the feminist King Arthur. Yeah, that doesn't take away from just being a child molester. Robert Diaz says, have you seen The Legend of Beavis? No, I have not. I'll have to look into that. Ponythroat says, what if... I'm sorry, Ponythroat says, Gene Roddenberry had lots of kinks. He also says Alan Moore is doing his impression of if King Theoden became a Redditor. Yeah, I like some of Alan Moore's comics, but he is a fucking dick. Like, let's have, Dorothy Gale get, banged by horses. The Lost Girls is garbage, Alan Moore. Ponythroat also says Tolkien and Asimov are similar. They couldn't write anything outside of one hyper-specific subject. Asimov was obsessed with trains. Seems like he would be obsessed with trains. Isaac Asimov was literally a doctor of chemistry, so I think it'd be more like chemical engineering would be his object of obsession. But yeah, despite the many personal issues he had, I do think Asimov was a pretty good writer, but he's not my favorite science fiction writer. And speaking of science fiction, some asshole had this to say about H.P. Lovecraft. Candela Obscura is some kind of sort of Cthulhu-based RPG. Spencer Stark says, we want to push back against the Cthulhu mythos that cosmic horror is steeped in. We want it to not have the baggage of Cthulhu in the time period. It was a time period not kind to people who are not white men. We want to create a space where people are welcome. Yeah, we need more. Yeah, cosmic horror needs to be more inclusive and welcoming. Are you an idiot, sir? Oh, it's like my cosmic horror. Like, there needs to be more black people here. Like, what? I think people of color are capable of understanding the meaninglessness of human existence and the yawning chasms of the unknown. It's not just something that white people do. like, obviously Lovecraft was a racist, but I question like how much of his racism bleeds into his stories. I mean, I never really found that much that was like overtly racist about it. I mean, he'll kind of like drop like racial slurs like just in the story, but it's not like the stories themselves are rooted in like, you know, racism per se. Maybe his early ones a little bit, but definitely not as he went on. Yeah, I really love like people who don't actually read the Lovecraft stories. They just kind of have like a vague pop culture idea of them and they try to make it shitty. Yeah, I refuse to engage in like Weenie Hut Jr. cosmic horror. Yeah, that Lovecraft Country show is hot garbage. I'm just laying that out there right now. Fuck these people for trying to like wear Lovecraft as a skin suit. Oh, he's a hack writer. He wasn't good. He was just a racist. Meanwhile, I'm just going to rip him off for the next 100 years. C-Punk Messiah says Osamu Tezuka drew naked anthro chicks. Robert Leonard says the dialogue of most Cthulhu stories should be done in a thick New England accent. Yes, they should. Timothy Adams says white people. Here's a creepy place with weird stuff happening. Let's check it out. POC. Shit, I'm out of here. Yeah, wasn't this literally like the joke that black comedians have been doing for decades? It's like Eddie Murphy did in Delirious. Like, white people, like the house is haunted. Get the fuck out of the house. Ponythroat says H.P. Lovecraft's ideas about race are more funny than problematic. His ideas of racial hierarchy were almost as autistic as everything else about him. Yes, indeed. Alpha Marigi says, I first learned about the Lost Girls from Linkara saying he won't review it. That's how I first learned about Sonichu too. Oh, I learned about Sonichu the hard way. I was like kind of there sort of basically from the beginning when he was just like some kind of weird guy who people made fun of on the internet. Yeah, when he kind of broke out onto the internet when I was in high school, and I was basically following him from the beginning. And then when I was in college, I was like, why am I spending so much time following this like low functioning autistic? I should probably stop doing this for the sake of my mental health. And so I did. But yeah, we need inclusive cosmic horror. Just stop for a second and like realize how lame you are. Speaking of cosmic horror, the woke are now coming for Warhammer 40,000. People are complaining about a lot of things. Like, why do the Space Marines not have women in them? Dare I say women wouldn't really be into like massive genetic modification, like cyber steroids and like stuff to become 10-foot tall beast men. Also, the Imperium of Man has like the Sisters of Battle. There is a woman's like combat corps. Why do they have to be Space Marines? And this is, of course, assuming that the people who want female Space Marines don't just want giant muscle mommies, which is probably the case. Yeah, they're saying like it's a battle between Wokehammer and Chudhammer. I never really got into Warhammer. My friend Will in high school, he was into that shit. And he seemed to spend. I never saw him actually play the game. He just seemed to spend a lot of time painting like the little models. But I have read some of the the fluff, like the lore and the backstory. And guys, like it's supposed to be Warhammer's not meant to be taken seriously. It's so dark and like grim that it's supposed to be like kind of a satire of that sort of thing. And of course, the idiots are also like, oh, the Tyranids are a racist dog whistle to represent Jews like me. That's why they love the Imperium. I'm sorry, how are Jews supposed to be like the Tyranids at all? Yeah, when I think of Jews, I think of like giant space tyrannosauruses and like, bugs like eating people and like going through the cosmos and shooting like bone needles out of their flesh. Like, like, I'm sorry, like, I've, I've studied Nazi Germany. I'm fairly familiar with, like, anti-Semitic, stereotypes and tropes, and, that never came up. Yeah, like, the idea of Jews being, like, biological spaceships that shoot teeth out of their mouths, that didn't come up. The GSC are trans people, orcs are black people, the Tau are Asian people. Yes, the orcs are black people. Screaming, "Here we go, here we go," like white football hooligans. That's totally what black people do. I say very sarcastically, and here comes my wife coming in. Yes, I hope so. It's not a home intruder. And she walks by, and yes, that is my lady love. Hello. Okay. Steampunk Messiah says, he also wrote Baji, the Monster of Mighty Nature, talking about Osamu Tezuka, which is about a cat girl. He was protesting Japan's legalization of DNA into the animals. Let's see. Let's check out some comments here. Ponythroat says Warhammer 40K is the definition of grim derp. Yeah, it's a joke, guys. Warhammer is so grim and dark to the point where it's supposed to be funny. Don't think about it so hard. Seapunk Messiah says he listens to a Warhammer-inspired metal band, Bolt Thrower. I might check them out. Ponythroat says Nurgle is a representation of the average Warhammer fan. Yes. And Slanish as well. Robert Leonard says, I can't stop thinking about the Mel Brooks Jews in Space from History of the World Part 1. Yeah, like, what about the Tyranids is remotely, like, Jew-coded? A tweet in the thread, as a Jew, I am offended. The Jews are the Eldar. Low population, they control everything from the shadows. Like, yeah, really, like, if you're going to be anti-Semitic, at least, like, get your stereotypes right. And also, the orcs are literally supposed to be, like, football hooligans. Like English white trash, basically. That is, like, literally what the creators of the game said. If you're gonna, like, hijack a fandom and, like, ruin it, you could at least learn about it. Alpha Marigi says, the wokesters are very transparent about the fact that they want female space marines. It's because space marines are the most popular faction. Yes. I mean, I always like the orcs, personally. And finally, coming towards the end of the stream, I saw a video on the TikToks of Madonna in concert. She literally has to hold onto a bar to keep from falling down. This is embarrassing, Grandma. You can't do it anymore. Like, please, can we age gracefully? She looks like some kind of weird cyborg, like, thing. This is fucking embarrassing. Your plastic surgeries don't look good. Please, you should have quit, like, 15 years ago. And with that, yeah, that's all I got to say about that. And yeah, that about does it for my prepared remarks. If people have anything to say, you can say it now. This has been an excellent turnout we've had, and I like it. Robert Leonard says Madonna has gone full on Norma Desmond. Yeah, I agree. Except at least Norma Desmond didn't have like mountains of plastic surgery. Ponythroat says Madonna now looks like an early 2000s CGI character. Yes, yes, she does. And speaking of CGI, I actually just found something that came up. Uh, yes, several animators like Franz Vischer and some Japanese guys said the new Disney cartoon movie Wish is hot garbage. Everyone's like, it has a lot of like visual kind of fidgeting around, like zigzagging about, just constant movement to distract people. And yeah, Madonna's dancing looks a bit like that. Yeah, I've always hated that about CGI in particular, where everybody just kind of zigzags around the screen and like it just looks like hot garbage. A tweet in a thread said it best. It had a screen grab from Tartakovsky's Primal, which I absolutely loved, by the way. They're just looking at the waterfall. I don't get it. Why is nobody making a goofy face or chasing after a little marketable creature? This is boring. Yes, people. Animation does not have to be just flitting about in like catchphrases. You can make intelligent animation for the grown-ups. But nobody listens to me. All right, Timothy Adams says, don't compare that hideous Madonna with Sunset Boulevard or Hyde Beast. Ponythroat says, is the stream over? No. This is the Kibbles and Bits section. Alpha Marigi says, the face button on the Nintendo system should be rotated 90 degrees clockwise. Perhaps it should. Seapunk Messiah says, Cyndi Lauper has aged very well. So has Susanna Hoffs. Timothy Adams says, I haven't seen a Disney film in 10 years, neither has anybody else. Ponythroat says, is Wish going for the food fight style of animation? It's that, like, it's that very typical, like, CGI kiddie movie thing where, like, everybody moves in, like, zigzags and, like, everybody's just kind of, like, skiddily bopping all around the screen and, like, nobody takes a goddamn second to just relax and, like, stand. Like, ugh. Ralph Bakshi was right. You can learn more about animation from watching an old Fleischer Popeye than, like, watching any of these new movies. Ralphie was 100% right. So yeah, that is all I got to say. So you can say your last pieces. Timothy Adams says it's hard to draw people just standing still. I understand. It's like it's hard to draw them standing without, just looking static. I do really get that. But it's like there's a reason why the Disney textbook is called The Illusion of Life. You gotta create that illusion. Although, as much as I hate to quote John Cristofalusi, I do think he had a point where he said, like, the acting, quote unquote, in animation, it's all like everyone's just trying to do like the Disney acting, and like you should do other acting too. I do agree with that. I mean, Disney's great or was great, but there's other ways to do animation too, and you should all study all those things. Alpha Mariga says the villain of Wish is the good guy. That's kind of the impression I got from watching the trailer, to be honest. Okay, so I think we're done here. So for Larsen Halleck, this has been Larsen Halleck. Subscribe, give me money, and have a good day.